فرش عزا بچھا کر بھیا میں آ گئی ہوں نانا کا دین بچا کے گھر جا کے کیا کروں گی پہلو میں ہی سلا لو اکبر سے کہہ کے مجھ کو تربت کی جا دلا دو مالک ہو تم تو بھائی جاگیر کربلا کے بھیا میں آ گئی ہوں نانا کا دین بچا کے یہ کہہ کے اے تکلم اٹھی علی کی بیٹی عباس کی لحد پر پہنچا دے مجھ کو کوئی دکھلا دوں باوفا کو رسی کے نیل جا کے بھیا میں آ گئی ہوں نانا کا دین بچا کے جاؤں گی اب مدینہ چہلم تیرا منا کے بھیا میں آ گئی ہوں نانا کا دین بچا کے اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات سورہ فاتحہ اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وطن میں جب حرم شاہ نامدار آئے وطن میں جب حرم شاہ نامدار آئے ملول و مضطر و بیتاب و بے قرار آئے جناب عابد بیمار اشک بار آئے نبی کی قبر مطہر پہ سوگوار آئے نبی کی قبر مطہر پہ سوگوار آئے بکا سے روضہ عالی وقار ہلنے لگا فغاووں کی کہ نبی کا مزار ہلنے لگا فغاووں کی کہ نبی کا مزار ہلنے لگا کوئی پکاری کے نانا فلک ستائی ہوں میں شرم سے یہاں آنے میں تھر تھر آئی ہوں یہ نظر آپ کے روضے پہ لے کے آئی ہوں اور ابن شیر خدا کی سنانی لائی ہوں اور ابن شیر خدا کی سنانی لائی ہوں عقیق کی لاش پہ میں کربلا میں رو آئی تمہارے لال کو دشت بلا میں کھو آئی تمہارے لال کو دشت بلا میں کھو آئی کسی کا غل تھا کہ بازار میں گئی نانا شتر پہ بلوائے کفار میں گئی نانا غضب ہے مجلس سے میں خار میں گئی نانا یزید نحس کے دربار میں گئی نانا یزید نحس کے دربار میں گئی نانا شقی کی بزم میں کیا کیا نہ شور و شر دیکھا ہزاروں ناریوں نے مجھ کو ننگے سر دیکھا سفر میں قاسم بے پر بھی مر گئے صغرا پھوپھی کے دونوں وہ دل پر بھی مر گئے صغرا میرے جوالی اکبر بھی مر گئے صغرا تمہارے ننھے برادر بھی مر گئے صغرا تمہارے ننھے برادر بھی مر گئے صغرا نبی کا لال بھی سب اقربا بھی قتل ہوئے علی کے شیر تمہارے چچا بھی قتل ہوئے علی کے شیر تمہارے چچا بھی قتل ہوئے وطن میں جب حرم شاہ نامدار آئے محمد وآل محمد صلوات محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل باری دیگر باواز بلند صلوات اللہم صلی علی مومن مومنات السلام علیکم. Just a few quick announcements and reminders. So our next series of programs will take place next Saturday and Sunday, September 24th and 25th. That will be for the Shahadat of Imam Hassan alayhi salam and Rasul Khuda sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Both of those programs next Saturday and Sunday will begin at 8:30 p.m. We will be joined by guest speaker, Brother Abbas Razavian, who will be lecturing in English on both nights. And then on Sunday, September 25th, we will also be joined by Noah Khan Janab Ali Ziya Rizvi, who will be visiting from Atlanta. Lastly, if I can request all of you to recite Surah Fatiha and Surah Ikhlas for all the marhumin on the Jafaria Memorial Board, for all the marhumin of everyone in attendance today, and for all the marhumin of today's sponsors. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. On behalf of the management at Jafaria Islamic Society, I'd like to take a moment to thank our guest speaker this weekend, Dr. Akbar Mirtani, for one, accepting our invitation and joining us for these very, very important days. Jahlum, Dr. Saab, on behalf of the community, we very much appreciated your lectures, the topics, the structure, the organization, and I think the most unique thing was your ability to deliver a very good English lecture as well as very good Urdu Masaib, which is very, very rare combination. So if I can request all of you for the health, safety, and well-being of Dr. Akbar Mirtani Saab and his family, please recite the loudest of your salawats. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please join me in inviting Dr. Akbar Mirtani to the mimbar with the loudest of your salawats upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، شفيع المذنبين وخاتم النبيين، نبينا وشفينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد، وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمنا بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآله. Elders of the community, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمسابنا بأبي عبد الله الحسين عليه الصلاة والسلام. I want to take first of all the opportunity to thank the community, and in particularly the management of the community, to have honored me and given me the opportunity to come and recite the majalis of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn in this community. And I want to thank particularly, Janab Musawwir Sahib, who was insistent that I come and deliver the lectures here. And Janab Abid Sahib, who has been an amazing person who has looked after me. His hospitality has been outstanding. And we have had a lot of opportunity to have many discussions around, what the states of communities are in North America. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so many in this community have showered their love and their affection towards me as I've been here for a very short time. I apologize for my dress today because I am going directly to the airport from here. And so I don't have the traditional dress that I normally wear when I'm reciting majlis, but Allah does not see what you wear. He actually looks at what your heart is. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, honestly, I think this community is a community that is intellectual in its nature. A lot of the people who have asked me questions after I've delivered lectures, some of them very difficult questions and challenging questions, and they have had the courage to ask me. Sometimes it's very hard to ask questions, of speakers, because you never know how a speaker is going to respond to it. Of course, my personal view is that I always welcome that, because I think it is an opportunity to always improve. But I see even from the questions that I get asked that this is a community that is deep in its thought and in its intellectual, stage. And so my prayer is with the community, inshallah, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His choicest blessings on this particular community and the members of this community. So inshallah, that they may be able to elevate themselves towards the proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that they may be able to ascend to that level where truly they are the ones who are, living the mission of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. They are truly acting upon the teachings of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And I pray for this community that Allah gives this community and its members and its ladies and its youngsters and its seniors and its children all the tawfiq and the blessings to be able to be successful, inshallah, in this world and inshallah in the hereafter. I actually had a very different lecture prepared today. And it was not until last night that Abid Bhai came to me and said, oh, by the way, tomorrow we are commemorating, the wafat of Sayyida Zainab, salamullahi alayha. And it is the day of the ta'abut of Sayyida Zainab, salamullahi alayha. So he said to me, Dr. Sahib, if you can say something about Sayyida Zainab. You can't say something about Sayyida Zainab. Sayyida Zainab is a series of majlises. You cannot just say something. So this morning I thought to myself that, normally in our calendars, we commemorate the wafat of Sayyida Zainab salamullahi alayha on the 15th of the holy month of Rajab. That is normally when we commemorate, but I do know that there are communities, especially in the Indo-Pak communities, that do commemorate, the wafat of Sayyida Zainab on the 23rd, I think, 22nd or 23rd of Safar. So I changed the lecture today, and I wanted to make sure that we were able to do something and understand this lady in the way that she deserves to be understood. And I can assure you that as fallible that I am, and as sinful that I am, that I will not even come close to be able to give justice to this great personality. But inshallah, the intention is to at least start a conversation for us to understand the greatness of this lady of Islam, and I call her the princess of Islam. So this is the lady, has a very soft spot in my heart. And I was telling one of the mu'mineen today that if you were to ask me today, where would you rather be in this world? And I would have said to you that I would rather have been in Sham, in the Zari and in the shrine of this great lady, Janab Zainab, Salamullahi alayha. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Janab Zainab, Salamullahi alayha, she is this personality, and many have analyzed her through different lenses, right? If you look at the history and the people who have listened and who have written about Sayyida Zainab, you will see that, people have analyzed her through many different lenses. Some people have talked about her patience. Some people have talked about her eloquence. Some people have talked about her courage. Some people have talked about her piety as an example. And some have described the greatness of this lady, not through those characteristics, but some people have described her and her greatness through associations and the environment that she was in, right? So for example, as an example, she has been given a status because she is the daughter of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, that she is the daughter of Fatimah Zahra salamullahi alayha. Some have given her that importance, that look, she is the granddaughter of the Holy Prophet. So this is why she is so great. Some have gone and said, no, her greatness is also because she is the sister of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. She's the sister of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. That is what her greatness is. But I want to present to you the maqam of Janab Zainab salamullahi alayha and the great lady that she is from the perspective of Janab Zainab. Ali Shariati has a book which he says, Fatima is Fatima. And I present to you the exalted state of Bibi Zainab, because for me, Zainab is Zainab. We don't need to associate her with anybody. We don't need to connect her with a relationship or anything like that. Her greatness is because of her spirituality. The spirituality of Janab Zainab. And if we were to understand the spirituality of Janab Zainab, we will realize that today, where we are as the followers of the Ahlul Bayt is because of no one else other than this great lady. Nobody else. We would have been practicing a very different deen had it not been for Janab Zainab. Yeah. So her greatness is not because of any associations. No. Zainab is Zainab because of her spirituality. Why? Because she is from the awliya of Allah. See, my time is small today. So everything I'm saying, please understand what I'm trying to say. When I make this statement, it is not a small statement. She is from the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's not a small, personality. Yeah. She is, you see, she may not have the designation of Imam. Imam is only 12. Yes. Ma'soom only 14. As far as designation is concerned. Designation ki baat alag hai, right? Designation is something different. Designation is something totally different. She may not have the designation of imama, but she is the essence of imamat and wilayat. The essence of it. And we will prove it today. The essence of imama and wilaya is Sayyida Zainab. The batin of Imama is Sayyida Zainab. It's a very different personality. You know, if you look at her titles, she has many titles. One of her titles is Ummul Masaib. Yes? Ummul Masaib. The mother of misfortune. Ummul Masaib. Now, this is not an ordinary title. Huh? This title of Ummul Masaib was given to her by the Imam. It wasn't given to her by a scholar or anybody like that. Ummul Masaib is a title given to her by the holy Imams. So when the holy Imam gives you a title, it's not a joke. Eh? It has depth in it. It means something, right? To understand what it means when the Imam says that Janab Zainab is Ummul Masaib, we have to understand that there are different levels. One must appreciate that, there are different levels of responses that happen when somebody is faced with a misfortune or an adversity or a calamity. Yeah? When Allah says what in the Holy Quran? لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says what? He says, I have created the human being in adversity. He says, I've created the human being in adversity. There is not one person, I can guarantee you, in this mahfil, in this majlis, there is not one person who will say that, no, I have not had any adversity in my life. I have not had any challenges in my life. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I have created the human being in adversity and misfortunes. So when we are faced with adversities and misfortunes, then we respond to those adversities and misfortunes in a certain way, don't we? Now, there are 4 levels at which one can respond to an adversity or a misfortune. The first response to a misfortune or an adversity is that when the individual is faced with an adversity or a calamity, there is a feeling of despair. There is a feeling of anxiety. There is a feeling of disillusionment. There is a feeling of sometimes even depression. Yes. There is a feeling of fear as well. Yes. And a lot of us fall in that category, don't we? Yeah. Feeling of despair, anxiety. This is where your iman gets rattled. Yeah. It gets rattled. It's shaken at that level, right? Because there is a feeling of despair, anxiety, disillusionment. Why me? Why did Allah pick me? Yeah, I'm not such a bad person. यार मैं जाफरिया हर थर्सडे को आता हूँ, दुआए कुमेल भी पढ़ता हूँ, सूरह यासीन भी होती है, ज़ियारत वारिसा भी पढ़ता हूँ, नमाज भी पढ़ता हूँ, कभी कभार शब के लिए भी उठता हूँ, right? इतना बुरा आदमी नहीं हूँ, ज़ियारत में भी जाता हूँ, ये भी करता हूँ, वो भी करता हूँ. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pick on me? So we start to blame Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have this thing, right? The human being, we blame 2 things, right? We either blame Allah or we blame shaitan. We don't blame ourselves ever. You will notice this. Either we blame Allah or we'll blame shaitan. We will never say, no, it is me. Right? So when an adversity befalls us, sometimes we have this attitude of, disillusionment, despair, fear, anxiety. We start blaming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is this happening to me? Why is this done to me? That's the first level of response to a calamity or an adversity. The second level of response is a response where we do sabr. Yeah, we do sabr. We have patience. And there are many levels of patience as well. Huh? The highest level of patience is sabr jamil. And I think I talked about sabr jamil in one of my lectures that was online 2 years ago, actually, for this community in Jafaria. Right? So there is one level of response, which is, the second level, which is a higher level, of course, than the first level, is the level of sabr. Yes. And sometimes, we think of sabr as a weakness, don't we? Bichara sabr kar raha hai. Poor guy, he's doing sabr. Where we don't understand that actually sabr is a strength, or is a source of strength for that person. Yes. And sabr jamil is a high level of sabr, which is a source of strength where the person has complete confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a separate conversation. But that's the second level of response, is the level of sabr. The third level of response to a calamity or an adversity is the level of shukr and thankfulness, right? In the face of misfortunes. Now, this is tough, right? It's a very tough level, right? When a calamity comes to you, when an adversity comes to you, that you are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you do not forget your gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a level of shukr and thankfulness in the face of misfortunes and adversities and calamities. Yeah, it's a very high level. Higher level than the level of sabr is the level of thankfulness. It's very tough to find, let me tell you, right? To actually look at a calamity and say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alhamdulillah, I can deal with this. Look at what you have already given me. Yeah. The fact that everything I have, I am not the owner of it. You are the owner of it. And if you have decided to take it from me, then it is yours. So I am still thankful to you. Yeah. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein in Dua Arafah, what does he say? He says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, I don't know how to thank you. He says, I don't know how to thank you. If you read Dua Arafah, read Dua Arafah, if you have a chance. And if you have not read it, don't read just the Arabic. Read the translation of Dua Arafah. There is a section in Dua Arafah where Imam alayhi salam, he talks about in detail the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He talks about the eyes and the eyebrows and the eyelashes and the eyeballs and the nose and the mouth and the tongue and the limbs and everything. And he says, look at what you have given me. But then at the end of that section, Imam says, how do I thank you? Like there is no way that I can thank you. Because my ability to thank you is in itself a blessing from you, which also requires a thankfulness. How can I thank you? Right? So this level of shukr in the face of misfortunes and calamities is a tough level to achieve. But then there is the highest level of a response to an adversity or a calamity. And the highest level of response is that level when that person actually loves to have misfortunes. Now that's really deep. The highest level is when that person loves to have misfortunes. They actually love to have misfortunes. So the question comes, how can one love to have a misfortune or a calamity, or an adversity? How is that possible? Yeah. And this level only occurs amongst the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. Because at this level, that awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reached that pinnacle of spirituality and closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they are able to feel and they are able to see the consequences of that misfortune, not only in this world, but in the barzakhi realm and in the hereafter. And when they witness the consequence, the natija of that calamity, of that bala, they witness it not only in this realm, but in the barzakhi realm and the hereafter. That is when, in that dimension, that is when they love to have misfortunes, because they see the beautiful consequence of the misfortune. And that is what you see in Janab Zainab. That is why she is called Ummul Masa'ib. This is what this title of Ummul Masa'ib means when the Imam gives her this title, because she is the one who loved misfortune. How? How are you going to prove that? And she proves this. She proves this because in Kufa, when she is faced, to see, in the palace of Ibn Ziyad, when she is faced with Ibn Ziyad Mal'un, what does Ibn Ziyad say to her? Ibn Ziyad says to her, what do you think? Look at the words of Ibn Ziyad. What do you think about what Allah did to your brother? Ibn Ziyad is saying to Bibi Zainab, what do you think about what Allah did to your brother? This is the concept of Jabr. Yes, this is the concept of Jabr. Yes, where the Umayyads actually ruled this way. They ruled this way because they would say that everything is predestined. This is the whole concept of predestination. Yes, everything is that whatever happens, it is actually Allah who does it. It's not us, it is Allah who does it. It's the concept of predestination. Yeah, it's the concept of Jabr. So Ibn Ziyad is saying, look at how he chooses his words in front of Janab Zainab. He says, what do you think about what Allah did to your brother? And the response of the princess is what? Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I did not see anything in Karbala except for beauty, except for Jamal, except for beauty. So this is what Ummul Masa'ib means. Because I have to ask Janab Zainab, what beauty are you talking about? What beauty are you talking about, Ya Zainab? Your family was mercilessly killed in Karbala. They slaughtered a 6-month-old baby. They beheaded your brother. They trampled on his body. They got into your tents and put them in fire. They snatched your veils. They captured you as victims, right? They made you asir. They put, chains around you. They dragged you in Kufa and Sham. Where is the beauty? What beauty are you talking about? And this is where Janab Zainab would say to us that you do not understand. These calamities, yes, they were there. But the consequences of these calamities is what I was able to witness. I was able to witness the consequence of the great sacrifice of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Not in this world, but in the barzakhi and the hereafter, in that realm, I was able to witness the sacrifice of Hussein. And when I saw the sacrifice of Hussein and the consequences of that sacrifice, I saw nothing but the beauty of Allah. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I did not witness anything except for beauty. Now, this does not mean that they do not feel the suffering. They feel the suffering. The awliya of Allah, they feel the suffering. No, they feel the suffering. But at the same time as they are feeling the suffering in this realm, they are witnessing the beauty in a different dimension and a different realm. This is the beauty of the awliya of Allah. And this is what Janab Zainab is witnessing. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. Right? She is Ummul Masail. She is the lover of misfortunes. Why? Because the misfortunes for her, the misfortunes are a means for her to witness her closeness and proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the misfortunes are the means for her to elevate herself towards the proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the misfortunes, she only sees beauty. This is what Ummul Masa'ib means. Yeah? You look at another example of Janab Zainab. How? Remember the topic, yeah? Zainab is Zainab. We don't have to associate her with anything else. She is great because of her own greatness. Yeah. When this Qafila reaches Kufa, yeah, the people of Kufa, they knew who these women were. Eh? It was not like the people of Sham. The people of Sham were so brainwashed by Muawiyah that when they got the news that Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib al-Islam had been martyred in Masjid Kufa, their first question was, what was Ali doing in the masjid? That's how much Muawiyah had brainwashed them. But the people in Kufa, they knew who the Ahlul Bayt were. They had been present in the 4 years of the rulership or the Khilafat of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Yes, they knew the family, who they were. And as this caravan enters Kufa, everybody, starts to look at the caravan and they realize that this is the caravan of Aba Abdullah. They realize that this is the grandson of the Prophet who has been slaughtered on the fields of Karbala. So they start to cry. Many of them start to cry. What has happened? What have we done? They start to cry. And the narrations and the historians say, Janab Zainab, as she enters Kufa, فَإِشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ. She does what? Isharat ilayh. She tells the people of Kufa, she says, keep quiet. And the history tells us that she points her finger and tells them to be silent. The history tells us that there is an amazing reaction to just this. Isharat ilay, isharat. Just for her to say, keep quiet. The historian says an amazing response to it, that the whole of Kufa becomes completely silent. There is pin drop silence in Kufa. The history narrates, I don't know, maybe in Pakistan this happens, but I've seen it in India. I don't know about Pakistan, I've seen it in India. That, when you have animals, they have like cows or goats. Sometimes they tie bells onto the necks of the animals so that when the animals are walking, they can hear the bells, right? And the history says that those bells that were around the neck of the animals, you were not even able to hear those bells. That's how silent people were. Yeah, and this is when she gets up and she gives her khutbah. Yeah, now she doesn't have to give an elaborate explanation of who she is in Kufa because they know her, because they know Amir al-Mu'mineen, right? These are the people, who know, but now she addresses the people. And what does she say? She says, "O people of deceit, treachery, and betrayal." Look at the courage of Zainab. "O people of deceit, treachery, and betrayal, it is you who weep. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not stop your tears, and may your chests burn incessantly with the fire of grief and with the fire of sorrow." And these are harsh words. These are harsh words coming from Janab Zainab. Yeah. And she goes on rebuking them in very strong words. She says, "What qualities do you have? You swear such false oaths that bear no truthfulness at all." She says, beware, you are nothing. Right? You are nothing. You are nothing except for vain talk, false pride, mischief, evil, rancor, and falsehood. You are nothing. Yeah. You are words only, there is no action. It says you left the Imam alone. Why? Because you were taken away by your egos. There's a message in us, in this for us. There's a message in this for us. You are only words and no action. And that's the point of reflection for us in this khutbah. Yes. Where she is saying that, you left the Imam alone. People in Kufa left Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alone in Karbala, and they did not accompany him. Yes. She is telling us today, are we amongst those who have also left our Imam alone? Because we are amongst those, are we, who was just vain talk, बातें करते हैं बस, कोई दम नहीं है. बातें करना बहुत आसान है, honestly, बहुत आसान है. करके दिखाना बहुत मुश्किल है. Action is very tough. Right? बातें करना, I am Husseini. I believe in the wilaya of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Really? Yeah. There's a story once, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he was walking in Medina. He was going from Masjid Nabawi to his house. And he was followed by one of the, companions, one of the people in Medina was following him, was going behind the fifth Imam, as he was walking from Masjid Nabawi to his house. And during the whole, journey from the masjid to his house, this man was, he was praising the Imam. He was saying, you are the Imam, Yabna Rasulullah, this is your greatness, you are so kind, so generous, you're so beautiful, you're this, you're that. Praising the Imam. Imam did not even look at him. He just kept walking. And the man kept praising the Imam. Oh, you are such great, you're so great, and this and that. Until Imam reaches his house. Now this man could not bear it anymore. So he says to the Imam, he says, Yabna Rasulullah, from the time you left Masjid al-Nabawi until we got to your house, I have been praising you. I have been singing your praises continuously throughout this journey. And not once did you acknowledge me or looked even back at me to see who I am. Not even once. Now the Imam turns back and he looks at him and he says, indeed, you praised me throughout my journey, but tell me, if you love me so much as per your praises, then why is it that you don't follow me? So this statement of Janab Zainab is a statement for us to reflect on. Yes? Have we left Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alone in Karbala? Yeah? And then she says, your hearts are full of enmity and rancor. And she says, you are like that vegetation that grows on filthy soil. Yes? It looks green on top, but it is just dirt underneath. And you're like that silver that is applied to graves on top. You know, sometimes we do that, right? In our cupboard, you know, we make it grand. Yes. We've said, you are like those graves, she says. There is silver on top, but underneath it's just the grave. Yeah. And she says, you should know that you have perpetrated a very morbid deed and that you have prepared an evil provision for your next life. Because of that, Allah's anger is against you and his wrath will fall upon you. This is Janab Zainab telling the people of Kufa what will happen to you because of your betrayal of the Imam. Yes. And then she says, you are crying now? Look at the courage of this woman. She says, you are crying now? She says, yeah, you are crying now. You're crying aloud and wailing. Yes. She says, you are crying now and wailing over my brother. She says, yes, cry, because it behooves you to cry. Weep and weep profusely and laugh less, because you have earned the shame of killing the Imam of your age. And she says, the stain of his blood is now on your clothes. Khun kada, right, is now on your clothes. And she says that you will never be able to wash it away. And she says, you will not be able to secure any kind of acquittal, you know, from the charge of this killing, you know, and you have killed the son of the holy prophet of Allah, right? And the chief of the youth of paradise. People started to weep, and this history says that they started to put their fingers in their mouth. They started to bite their nails. They started to weep, understanding what this lady has just said. And without appealing to any sentiments of pity, she exposes their reality, and she exposes their reality of their own selves and their evil deeds. The previous, you know, this Kufa had been prepared for this caravan to come. There was a big carnival. There was going to be a big party in Kufa. You know, Ibn Ziyad has arranged for a big party for this caravan to come. And, you know, with this expectation and celebration, just one speech of Janab Zainab in Kufa has such an effect and is so truthful in her speech that it has awakened the people of Kufa in such a way that they start weeping. There's no celebration. This is the courage of Zainab. You know, Ayatollah Mutahari, he talks about Bibi Zainab, and he talks about Bibi Zainab before Ashura, and he talks about Bibi Zainab after Ashura. And Ayatollah Mutahari says that before Ashura, we see a very different Zainab. Anxious, afraid, worried about her brother, always worried about her brother, right? When the Kafila comes on the second day to Muharram to Karbala, she's the one who tells her brother that I have, you know, bechaini in my heart. I feel restless in my heart. Move away from this place. This is not a good place. We need to go. And Mutahari, Ayatollah Mutahari says that this is the Zainab, you know, that on the night of Ashura, she goes to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and he says, these companions of yours, you are sure, right, that they are for real, that they will be with you tomorrow. And Habib ibn Madahir hears this. And he comes running to Zuhair ibn Kain and he says to Zuhair, Zuhair, the daughter of the Prophet, the daughter of Zahra has a doubt on our commitment. Let's go. Let's go and tell her that we are with Hussein. That is when Zuhair and Habib give that speech, and Habib gives that speech to Janab Zainab, and she says to Janab Zainab that let me tell you that if we were to be chopped into pieces, irba, if we were to be chopped into small pieces, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to give us life again, and if that was to happen 70 times, we would sacrifice ourselves for Aba Abdullah. This is Zainab, not sure, worried about her brother. But then Ayatollah Mutahhari says, after the events of Karbala, what you see is a different Zainab. There has been a transformation in her to such an extent that she is now the person who is the manifestation of the courage of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The manifestation of the strength of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the one hand, she is nursing the children. She's looking after the children and she is consoling the ladies of the caravan, for there is no other man other than Imam Sajjad. She is the one looking after them. She is providing that spiritual care to the women and the children. On the other hand, she is the one standing up in Kufa and giving this type of a khutbah to Kufa. And when she finishes this khutbah in Kufa, the fourth Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, at the end of this khutbah, Janab Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he stands up and he says, Anti bihamdillah, alimatun ghayra muallima. غير مفهمة. What a statement. This is the statement of an Imam. The Imam does not just say things. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. They do not move their lips except it is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She says that Anti bihamdillah alimatun ghayra muallima. Oh my aunt, you are an alima who has had no teacher. Yeah. And you have the intellect of understanding things without being trained by anyone to understand and how to have ma'rifah. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam is saying what? Alimatun ghayra, you are a alima without a teacher. Ghayra muallima. What does it mean? It means that your knowledge and your ilm is direct from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Zainab is Zainab. Yeah? That is what you have to understand. The third example I want to give you about her spirituality actually relates to her birth. Yeah? Her birth, which shows that her birth was actually divinely planned. Yeah? She was born, when she was born, Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha brought her to Amirul Mu'mineen. And he brought her to Amirul Mu'mineen. She brought her to Amirul Mu'mineen. And she says to Imam Ali, she says that, why don't you name her? And Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam takes Bibi Zainab and he brings her to the Holy Prophet. And he says to Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, he says, Fatima, I cannot name her. I'm going to bring her to the Holy Prophet. Let the Holy Prophet name her. And when the Holy Prophet receives Janab Zainab, he says that I am not able to name her. At that time, Jibreel comes down and says to the Holy Prophet, O Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has named her Zainab. What does Zainab mean? Zainab is Zainab, the adornment of her father. Allah has named her Zainab. Yes, it's very important to understand this. Let me explain it to you. This is the status of Janab Zainab. It's not a small thing. Yeah, if you look at Fatima to Zahra, salamullahi alayha, what does the Holy Prophet say? What does the Holy Prophet say about Fatima to Zahra? Fatima bid'atun minni. Yes, Fatima is a part of me. And this is not a father talking about a daughter. This is not about that. This is the Holy Prophet. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. The Prophet does not indulge in this type of things. Yes, the Prophet is saying that Fatima bid'atun minni means what? That Fatima is a part of me. If I am a Nabi, then the batin of Nabuwa is Fatima al-Zahra. This is what Fatima bid'atun minni means. In the same way, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has named Janab Zainab as a Zainab, the adornment of her father, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying what? Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is the Imam, he's the Wali, the batin of Imamat and Wilayat is a Zainab. There is a divine plan in her birth. Yeah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, he was crucial for the safety and security of Islam after the death of the Holy Prophet. And what was necessary was to have Janab Zainab, as she was crucial for the salvation of Islam after Abu Bakr. You know, there is a great narration once that Imam Hassan alayhi salam and Imam Hussein alayhi salatu was salam, recite a salawat on both these Imams. These two great brothers, you know, they were sitting down and they were just, you know, having a discussion. They were just talking, the two brothers, right? And they were having a discussion on some of the hadiths of the Holy Prophets. This is what the Holy Prophet said. This is what the Holy Prophet said. This is what the Holy Prophet. They were having some discussions about that. And Bibi Zainab, salamullahi alayha, was also sitting there. I gotta tell you, I would have loved to be the fly on the wall. Can you imagine? It's two great Imams sitting down, talking, and then this great lady also sitting and, you know, just, you know, being part of this. It would have been great just to be there, just to listen to what's happening, man. What are they saying, right? So these people are there. Bibi Zainab is sitting there, and Janab Zainab started to participate in the conversation. Two great Imams, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein talking. Bibi Zainab started to participate in the conversation, and she started to outline very deep points, analyzing what the hadith of the Holy Prophet was. She is making a contribution towards it, right? She adds very deep points. At one point, Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, he stops and he points to Janab Zainab. And he points to Janab Zainab and he says, Innaki haqqan min shajaratin nabuwa wa min ma'dan al-risala. Janab Zainab. Innaki haqqan min shajaratin nabuwa wa min ma'dan al-risala. He says that you, oh Janab Zainab, points to Janab Zainab. He says, you are truly the tree of prophethood, the batin of Nabuwwah. You are truly the tree of prophethood, and you are the core or the essence of messengership. Janab Zainab. This is the same phrase that is used in Jarat Jamia Kabir for the Ahlul Bayt. शजरतिन नबुव्वा व मअदनिर रिसाला, जनाब ज़ैनब. Yeah. You know, there is a beautiful, Shair has said something very beautiful about Janab Zainab in just 2 sentences, yes? What does he say? He says, Kya martaba hai tera, पूछे कोई खुदा से. क्या मर्तबा है तेरा, पूछे कोई खुदा से. करते हैं अब इमामत आबिद तेरी रजा से. What do you recite for Masayib of Masayib? What Masayib do you want me to recite of this great lady? I don't know what to say. You know, as the tents are put on fire in Sham-e Ghariba, as the tents are put on fire and the veils of the daughters of the Holy Prophet have been stolen, the narration comes that there is Shimr who is running after Janab Zainab. Zainab is going from one tent to another. Shimr comes and he takes the end of a spear, and he goes with the end of the spear, he takes and steals away the veil of Janab Zainab, with the end of the spear. What do you recite about the Messiah? Yeah? As the fire spreads, this woman is running from one tent to another. She is running from one tent to another. When she comes to the last tent, Janab Zainab sees that Imam Sajjad is lying in the bed in his last tent. She takes Imam Sajjad and she says, "Oh Sajjad, the women folk are running from one tent to the other. Our veils have been stolen. This is the last tent, oh Sajjad. Tell me, Sajjad, do we stay in the tent and die, or do the daughters of the Prophet come out of the tent without their veils?" Azadara Hussain, jab Janab Zainab khayme se bahar aayi hai, जब जनाब ज़ैनब खैमे से बाहर आई है तो मदद के लिए ना जनाब ज़ैनब ने अबुल फजल को पुकारा है, ना मदद के लिए अली अकबर को पुकारा है, ना मदद के लिए माजाए हुसैन को पुकारा है। एक मर्तबा ज़ैनब ने आसमान की तरफ देख के कहा, या अल्लाह, आए मेरा पर्दा, आए मेरा पर्दा। ज़ादारा ने हुसैन, ये ज़ैनब है, ज़ैनब जो करबला में है ना पहरा दे रही है, करबला में है ना पहरा दे रही है। जनाब ज़ैनब है, करबला में पहरा दे रही है। जनाब ज़ैनब ने देखा कि दूर से एक सवार आ रहा है घोड़े पे। जब सवार आ रहा है तो अली की बेटी ने एक मर्तबा आवाज दी, कहा, ए सवार, अपने रास्ते को बदल दे, अपने रास्ते को बदल दे। क्या तू नहीं जानता कि मेरे बच्चे अभी सोए हैं, अभी सिर्फ थोड़ी देर हुई है मेरे बच्चे सोए हैं और हमारे पास अभी कुछ लूटने के लिए बचा नहीं है, अब तुम अपना रास्ता बदल दे। लेकिन ये सवार सुन नहीं रहा, आगे बढ़ रहा है, आगे बढ़ रहा है। जब खैमगाह के करीब पहुंचा है, अली की बेटी ने एक मर्तबा उस घोड़े के लगाम को थामा और कहा, है सवार, क्या तू नहीं जानता कि मैं अली की बेटी हूँ? अगर बद्दुआ करूंगी اگر بد دعا کروں گی تو کہیں کا نہیں رہے گا. بس یہ کہنا تھا. سوار نے اپنے نقاب کو ہٹایا, کہا بیٹی زینب علی کو نہ پہچانا, بیٹی زینب بابا کو نہ پہچانا. جناب زینب نے دیکھا یہ بابا علی ہے, مرتبہ بابا کے قدموں پہ گر کے جناب زینب نے کہا بابا اس وقت کہاں تھے جب میرے قاسم کا لاش گھوڑے کے ٹاپوں سے پامال ہو رہا تھا. بابا اس وقت کہاں تھے جب میرے علی اکبر کے سینے میں برچے کا پھل پیوست ہوا تھا. بابا آپ اس وقت کہاں تھے جب 6 مہینے کا ششمہ خرملا کے تیر سے ایک کان سے دوسرے کان تک ذبح کر دیا گیا. بابا اس وقت کہاں تھا, کہاں اس وقت کہاں تھے جب میرے ماں چاہے حسین کی گردن پہ شمر کا خنجر چل رہا تھا. بابا ہم لٹ گئے, بابا ہمارے خیمے جلا دیے گئے. بابا آپ کی بیٹی جس کی آواز نامحرموں نے نہیں سنی تھی, اس بیٹی کی چمکنوں چادر چھین. بس عزاداران حسین یہ زینب یہ زینب ہے. ایک وہ وقت آتا ہے جناب زینب دیکھتی ہے بیبیاں گریا کر رہی ہیں, بیبیاں ماتم کر رہی ہیں. یہ قافلہ کربلا سے کوفہ جا رہا ہے. ان لائنوں نے قافلے کو مقتل کی جانب سے گزار کے لے جایا گیا. بیبیاں ماتم کر رہی ہے. جب بیبیاں نے ماتم شروع کیا تو عمر سعد کے پاس عمر سعد نے شمر کو بلایا. عمر سعد کے پاس آتا ہے. عمر سعد نے شمر سے کہا شمر یہ ماتم بند ہونا چاہیے, یہ ماتم بند ہونا چاہیے. شمر نے کہا ابھی بند کیے دیتا ہوں. عزادارو شمر نے کیا کیا, تازیانے کو نکالا, تازیانے کو نکالا. امام سجاد کے پشت پہ تازیانے مارنے لگا. عزادارو مورخ لکھتے ہیں کہ امام سجاد نے سر حسین کی طرف دیکھا, باپ نے بیٹے کو دیکھا, بیٹے نے باپ کو دیکھا. امام سجاد نے کہا بابا جب تک جان میں جان ہے سجاد تازیانہ کھاتا رہے گا لیکن بیویوں کے ماتم کو نہیں روکے گا. عزاداروں اب عمر سعد شمر کے پاس آتا ہے. شمر کو کہتا ہے شمر یہ ماتم ابھی بھی بند نہیں ہو رہا ہے, بیویاں ابھی بھی ماتم کر رہے ہیں. عزاداروں شمر نے کیا کیا, شمر نے جناب زینب کو اب آزادہ بیویوں کو لیا, جناب زینب کو لیا. شمر نے بیویوں کے ہاتھ پسے گردن باندھے تاکہ حسین کا ماتم رک. وَسِيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنقَلَبٍ يَنقَلِبُونَ اِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. ماتم حسین یا حسین.
برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں زینب کو ناراسایا محرم کا مہینہ برباد میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ ایک دن تھا کہ اس شہر کی کہتی تھی میں شاہی اور آج تباہی اور آج تباہی ہائے بے غسل پڑا مور نبوت کا نگینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ کس لاش پہ رو کس چھوڑوں میں برادر لاشیں ہے بہت لاشیں ہے بہت حد یہ ہے کہ رونے کی اجازت بھی ملی نہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ اصغر کا گلا بھائی کا سر سینہ اکبر سب گوہر و چادر سب گوہر و چادر ہائے اس دشت میں لوٹا گیا زینب کا خزینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ مائیں بنا پہچان سکی بچوں کے چہرے بکھرے ہوئے سہرے بکھرے ہوئے سہرے ہے خون کی دریا میں غریبوں کا سفینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ آباد ہوئی کیب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ
ایک آگ ہے خیموں میں قیامت کا سما ہے، غازی تو کہاں ہے، غازی تو کہاں ہے، دیکھو تو ردا چھین لیا شمر کمینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، چادر چھنی درے لگے اب ظلم نہ ڈھاؤ، بابا سے ملاؤ، بابا سے ملاؤ، ہائے نیزے کے تلے بیٹھ کے روتی ہے سکینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد وہ بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا، میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، شوکت سرے مقدر یہ کہا بنت علی نے، زہرا کی پلی نے، زہرا کی پلی نے، بھیا تیرے بن خاک تیری بہنا کا جینا، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا، آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، ایک آگ ہے خیموں میں قیامت کا سما ہے، غازی تو کہاں ہے، غازی تو کہاں ہے، دیکھو تو ردا چھین لیا شمر کمینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، چادر چھنی درے لگے اب ظلم نہ ڈھاؤ، بابا سے ملاؤ، بابا سے ملاؤ، ہائے نیزے کے تلے بیٹھ کے روتی ہے سکینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں آباد ہوئی کعب و بلا اجڑا مدینہ، برباد ہوئی میں، یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام يا عبد الله والأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار وجعل الله آخر عهدي مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام على حسن المجتبى، السلام يا إمام الحسين الشهيد بكربلاء، السلام يا إمام زين العابدين، السلام عليك يا إمام أحمد باقر، السلام على جعفر الصادق، السلام على موسى كاظم، السلام عليك يا إمام علي رضا، السلام على محمد تقي، السلام عليك يا علي النقي، السلام على حسن عسكري، السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم قل لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا وذليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه وارزقته وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.